Hello, everyone. Welcome to Modernizing Old Hymns number 5. Today we're going to play the most famous Lutheran hymn of all, A Mighty Fortress is Our God, in the Lutheran hymnal, hymn number 262, on just one chord. Martin Luther played a lute. There was no one way of tuning the lute. He may have played Mighty Fortress is Our God on just one chord, like we're going to do today. And I've got this to an open G chord again. D at the bass. G. D. Another G. B. And D. Now the guitar has such a range that you can play it in two different places on the guitar, but we'll just get that melody down first. You have to start on the 5th fret for the high version. That whole thing repeats again, and then you hear that? That's an accident. This is something bold for Martin Luther in his time. It's a sharp or flat that really doesn't belong to that scale. I've heard rumors among Lutherans that Martin Luther, he didn't write any of his own melodies. He used popular melodies at the time. Or even he went to the bar at night and he'd hear a melody he liked, and then he'd write religious words to it the next day. That rumor stops right here. Okay, Martin Luther wrote in the style of classical musicians of his time, of hymn writers of his time. These are not songs you would find the common people playing, and that is proof of it right there. The common people of the time would not have used that note. It would have sounded a little sour to people in church until they got used to it. None of that. It just doesn't fit with any of his melodies. Okay. Okay, now let's play it in the low range, starting on the lower G there. Have to go, because that B string is not in between there, we have to go to the 5th fret there. The whole thing repeats again and then goes to the accidental. You have to go way down to the 6th fret. And I'll repeat here again. Now for those of you who might be using a musical instrument with fewer strings on it, we can use a simple 2-finger pick, just like that. Now notice I have to play the melody twice as loud as the accompaniment. Another thing too is sometimes I have time to play the extra accompanying note in there, and sometimes I don't. It just depends on the rhythm of the thing at the time. You might have noticed that Martin Luther wrote a rather rollicking melody to this hymn. It's not a regular rollicking melody, but it's an irregular rollicking melody. Well, it's hard to say. Why did he do that? Here's why. No dancing in the church. It had been a tradition already for many years that the clergy wanted you to listen to the words and not move your hips. Okay? The Bible really says nothing against dancing in the church, no, but I think they still had a good reason, and it really resulted in some pretty good music anyway. Okay, so and that whole thing repeats again. Now here on the accidental here, I'm going to have to push the string way to the side. And this is a repeat again. Now, doing the same thing on the lower range in the guitar. This time the melody comes with the thumb and the accompanying note, counter melody, with the index finger on the higher string. And we're just using that simple rhythm, emphasize those melody notes. The whole thing again. Now for your finger pickers, stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to do some strumming now, but I'll use this to teach you a more advanced technique in just a little while here. Now let's work it in with a strum. We're going to strum up to the melody note. Make sure you emphasize that melody note. Now the melody has been up on the top note, but now it goes down to the second note, so don't play the highest string there. Stop on that second string, and now down to the third string. Whole thing repeats again. Yeah, that accidental in there. Don't try to hold on to that for too long, right? You know, Martin Luther used it sparingly. Okay. That would sound like an accident instead of an accidental, right? Last line again is a repeat of a previous line. Now I'll play that with the boom chick sort of pattern. The melody note first, followed by a chord. Now if you try to do it like I showed you last time, you're going to have a very hard time. Okay, it doesn't work so well. Let me change it a little bit this time. This is something I wasn't able to do last time because I am trusting thee, Lord Jesus. Had such a regular rhythm to it that this didn't work, but I'm just going to play the chord on the empty spaces. So those two notes are pretty close together, no chord. Those two notes had a little gap in between, so I'm putting the strum in the gap. I might have changed the rhythm there just a little bit to work that strum in there with some of those. I'll show you another way in a little while, but again, that whole thing repeats. Accidental note is in there just very quickly. And now I'm going to do it with a double strum, like I showed you once before. Quick up and down there. Get with the timing of the melody in this hymn. Sometimes I might be able to get just one strum in there, sometimes both. Thing. Okay, now let's take something we learned from that double strum and apply it to finger picking. I'm playing the melody note there, kind of by itself there, and two quick notes after it. Okay, and again, the whole thing repeats. Okay, now let's do it in the lower range. Which one should you use? The melody on the index finger first, or the melody on the thumb first? If you're going to do the index finger first, play it high so you have the low strings, lots of low strings to play your accompany with on the thumb. If you're going the other way, then playing down at the low range and you're playing the accompany higher, keep the melody down low, and then you have all those high strings for the accompaniment. Again, there's our rhythm again. Melody note followed by two quick strings. The whole thing. Now let's take that double strum and apply it to the finger picking. We can do it a little differently this time. So I'm playing the top string, my index finger, then I'm moving down one level. Alternatively, you can use three fingers here. Get your middle finger on the melody and the other two fingers just below that. You guitar players might as well learn the three-finger style right away. Standard for the guitar is four fingers. If you've got an instrument with fewer strings on it, the two-finger style is fine. Three fingers, usually four fingers, doesn't work. But let's give it a try here. I didn't go. I thought it sounded better not to go down at that level, but yeah, you do what you want. let's try the same technique with the lower melody and move up to the next two strings. Again, you can alternatively use 3 fingers here, thumb first on the melody and then the other 2 fingers get the higher notes. And that whole thing repeats again. Okay, now how about a simple 1-finger amen to end the whole song? Normally you play on the amen, since this is in the key of G, you would play C on the ah and G on the men, but we'll do it with just 1 finger. We'll add the C note. Very simple amen there. And there you go. You may have time yet to work that up for Reformation Day coming up, and you can tell everyone this just might sound close to the way Martin Luther played it on his lute. Okay, now the lute was a fretted instrument with strings. I know organists can have a pretty tough time playing Martin Luther's hymns. I think you'll find they are a little easier on an instrument like the guitar, any instrument with strings and frets. Down below, I've got a link to me playing A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. On my banjo, I used kind of a finger picking thing like I just showed you to do the first half of it. The second half, definitely not. But again, I think it just goes to show that Martin Luther's hymns sound better on fretted instruments with strings. Another thing to prove my point that Martin Luther wrote original compositions in the classical style is I've got a link to From Depths of Woe, I Cry to Thee, another song he wrote. He wrote that in an experimental scale at the time called Phrygian. So I've got both those hymns down below with the chords written with them. So you can get a look at those, and next time we'll revisit I Am Trusting Thee, Lord Jesus, one more time. This time we'll concentrate on the left hand a little more, and we'll do it with 2 chords. Thank you for watching.